Hi, this is Dylan Scott, host of the Table of Reason podcast, and here at the table we value free speech and uncensored dialogue and plan to serve up only real conversations on the issues that actually matter to you. Every episode I will share my thoughts or sit down with guests to talk about topics like culture, religion, politics, and everything in between. So if you're looking for meaningful conversations, the kind that might reach your dinner table, subscribe on YouTube and join us at the Table of Reason podcast, where nothing is off the table. Welcome back to the Table of Reason podcast, where we always serve up real conversations and interviews. I'm your host, Dylan Scott, and today I have a guest that's going to help me dive into the topic of dating from a female perspective. I'm being joined today by Tina, who is an ER nurse. She's a mother of two wonderful children. Tina, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Not anytime. Now, today's episode, we're going to be talking about relationships and dating, kind of relationships in general. So I just wanted to kick this off with just a few interesting stats that I found. And they're all from Pew Research Center. So the first one is that among 12th graders today in the U.S., 74% of boys say they expect to get married. 61% of girls say the same. So, which is an exact reversal, actually, from the early 90s. About 30% of U.S. adults have used a dating site or app, and about 14% of all U.S. adults are current or recent users of apps. And when it comes to apps, the average match rate for women is about 30%, and for men it's 2 to 3%. So women are 10 to 15 times more likely to get a match. And then among adults, which I thought was kind of interesting, between the ages of 18 to 29, 63% of men are single, and 34% of women are single. So just to kind of kick it off, just clearly, I don't know, dating is just in a weird place, compared to, let's say, even just the 90s. So I guess my first question, because I just have a string of questions basically for you. We're going to get the female perspective here from Tina. T, what do you think is wrong with dating today?
I think that the art of actual dating has gotten lost somewhere. The art of actually asking, getting to know somebody, asking them out on an actual date, taking them out on a date, finding secluded and time to spend together, in an appropriate setting, and then continuing to do that afterwards, a few more times, and getting to know somebody. I think all of that has gotten lost. I think some way, somehow, we've kind of just either not been taught, or maybe we are mirroring things that we see at home. I don't know, but I think apps even too have kind of jumped into that role almost, where it's just meet privately, not a lot of getting to know each other, maybe getting to know each other a little bit biblically, a little quickly. You know what I mean? The actual art of dating, I think, has just disappeared somewhere.
Do you think that dating apps and social media, so I guess we can kind of go into the social media aspect a little bit, do they actually help people to connect? Or do you think that they make things worse, or do you think there's more nuance to that?
I appreciate the idea of it, since, we've had this conversation outside of this as well, where technology's here, it's not going anywhere, it's only advancing. We just kind of have to accept what it is and learn to incorporate it into our lives. So I appreciate the idea of it. I appreciate that social media also has places where you can seek out information, kind of fact check things about certain people before you find yourself involved with somebody that you don't really know. But that being said, I think we were, at least our generation, we were taught that the internet can kind of be a dangerous place. And so we spend a lot of time on it, delving into things overthinking things, and then it's hard for us to peel away from it and actually apply those intentions outside of social media. So you can sit on an app for 4 hours a day and swipe left or right, but after all is said and done, when you put your phone down at the end of the day, how much thought have you actually put into any of the people that you've swiped and matched with? Probably not much. Like there's no intention really behind the apps.
But I like how the words that you've used so far, like, it being an art and intentional. So now, if dating apps just disappeared tomorrow, right? Like we got rid of Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, all those things, right? If they all disappeared tomorrow, do you think that like the dating climate would get better, or do you think it would get worse?
No, I think it would get better. If you're just talking about getting rid of dating apps, my opinion would be that it would probably get better. You still have your social media apps. So you still have your apps where, you have, we all know about those apps where like women get together and they kind of throw ideas or throw people's information out there back and forth and kind of get ideas about their backgrounds and like, is this a safe person? Does this person have a history? Whatever. But the dating app, getting rid of the dating apps would force everybody who's interested in dating to leave their homes, like leave their screens and potentially meet somebody organically, or there would be a much higher chance of it, at least.
So do you think that like the dating rate, like do you think like the amount of single people would decrease, or do you just think that the relationships that did form would be better?
I can't say for sure that the amount of single people would decrease. I think that there are a lot of people out there who are intentionally single, sometimes maybe scroll the dating app just for like entertainment, or to maybe feel like, they're looking for like maybe a dopamine hit. Maybe they're going to organically meet somebody on a dating app. Who knows? But I think that a lot of people that are single are probably intentionally single. But I do feel like connections could get better outside of a dating app if people meet organically.
It seems like a lot of people are saying that they want relationships. Like I 99% of the ones that I see anyways, it's like, looking for long term, don't want games, oh, my heart got burned so many times. But like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like they're like looking to be a wife. Like, do you think like that's part of the issue, is that people just like aren't being honest about what it is that they're looking for?
Not all of those people either are looking to potentially become a wife. Some people are just living their lives day by day. Right? I also do think that a lot of people kid themselves when they like go onto a dating app and they say, they're open. You see a lot, for example, of, you check the boxes, open to short term, open to long term, just for fun, whatever. You see a lot of the people that check all those boxes, every single one.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, because you're kind of kidding yourself. Like, yeah, that means that you're like maybe open to like entering a relationship at some point someday down the line, as long as something perfect falls into your lap. But like, what are you primarily on this app for?
Right. What's your intention?
I think that there's a sense of shame that comes with being the guy that clicks
booty call
short term.
Yeah.
That's it. Nobody wants to feel like that. But when you kid yourself, you also kid the audience that's out there, like, catching you on those apps and swiping left or right.
So is it that, like, people just aren't on the same page and they just kind of don't know what they want? Or do you think it's more like they're just kidding themselves?
I think both. Like, I definitely think that there are some people that sign up for those apps and they click every box and they know very well, inherently, what they're primarily seeking. And like I said, I think, maybe there's a sidebar bubble in their head that's like, yeah, I'm also kind of open to a relationship. Like, maybe this booty call is going to be like really cool. And like, I could wife it up. But I think that there are people out there, 100%. I think that there's a lot of people out there that do that. I also think that there's a lot of people out there that are just like, hey, they have a minute where they're like, I've been alone for a long time. I got all of these things going on. It's not a priority in my life at the moment, but let me just like feel it out. Like, let me just like sign up for the app. Let me just create a profile and then let's see what happens. But there's not a lot of like intentionality behind pursuing a relationship. I do. I think that there's a lot of women out there nowadays who are learning what it means to be their own person and be independent. I think that that's we've seen such a rise in that over the last 10 years even. So I think a lot of women just have a lot going on. And I'm not saying that men don't, but a lot of women just have a lot going on. A lot of them are the primary caretakers for their kids, or and are also now just a one income household, and whatever it may be. I think so I think it's both, but I also think that they're out of male and female, I also think that women are the ones who, when they go on there and they say that they're seeking a relationship, they're probably genuinely seeking a relationship. It also doesn't take much for a man to be desirable. Just be a good man. Just be a nice man. Just be kind and be thoughtful. And, it's not, I think gone are the days where women are so concerned about how much money you make and how much you're providing for the home, as opposed to just being a good human. Because the money makers and the providers of the home, they don't mean nothing if you are a jerk.
It would be like a good spot for people to meet.
I think part of that has to do with what people are like personally interested in, or personally like seeking in a partner. If they're like actually serious about finding a partner, I think that you would probably want to head towards the environment that is conducive to what you're looking for in a partner. If you're into country music and you like going to country concerts and you're kind of seeking somebody who has similar interests such as that, like you would probably keep your eyes peeled in that environment, and things of that nature. But I think it's like personal to the person.
It just seems like it's difficult for people to meet organically, and we don't really live in like that high trust society anymore, where it's like, if you go to, like, if you were to try to approach a woman in like a grocery store, she'd probably, be on edge, So it just seems tough for like the organic way nowadays. I would say, like, I think
part of that being on edge though is the fact that we've removed meeting people organically from our process, right? So like, if there are apps out there and there's social media and there are clubs or concerts or whatever that I like to do, when I have some free time, why are you talking to me in a grocery store? Like, I'm trying to grocery shop for me and my kids. It's just not the norm. Like, it's just not that, but if you remove those other like facets that people are using for dating, like the more natural paths that people are taking, would probably be less intimidating.
I see reels all the time of like, women that are like really upset that like men don't approach them. And it's like, I think apps have killed that. So I guess another question I have is, would you say like it's harder now to find somebody that has like the same like values and goals as you?
I think age plays a big part in that. And I only say that because I'm 38, right? So I'm 38, I'm single, I have 2 kids. I think that in my age bracket, like for somebody that I would be looking for in that age bracket, the pool is just so much smaller. Because a lot of those people that would have like those same values, those same goals, aren't chronically single, or even if they're like newly single and divorced, it's just, you'd have to like, cross paths at the right time, even on the apps, really, to like, find a diamond in the rough of somebody who is seeking the same things that you want. So I think that the pool, to answer that question for me personally, it's just like the pool is so much smaller. So I don't know how it would be if I was 10 years younger or 15 years younger. I don't think it would have been that hard to find somebody with the same values and goals. but I didn't even know my own values and goals back then.
Right.
So the people that did, good for them, they met and they married.
Right.
I remember when I was 18 to 25, and like what you want is security, in the sense that you want to be loved. Like you want and your emotions are at an all-time high. You're highly emotional as a female at those ages, and you don't have a lot of standards. You don't have a lot of self-respect. You don't have a lot of self-love. You're kind of just like, hey, he's cute and he's funny, and I'm going to make him my boyfriend, but now I want him to love me.
Right. And I want to man up
like,
now. Yeah.
And you want to know what he wants to do? Be single.
Right.
At those ages. He wants to play. You know what I mean? It's like, that's just the natural. I think that's just part of the age. And then I think that somewhere they come to a head. And I think that that's kind of like where those similar values, similar aspirations, similar goals kind of meet and align. And for the people that, they get lucky and they meet and align at the same time, I think that that's kind of when, they marry, or they end up in long-term relationships, or they start a family, or so on and so forth. But it is hard, because when you do something like that too, and you find out that you weren't, you picked the person that was cute and funny and you made him your boyfriend, and then you started the family, just to find out, 10 years later, you didn't, your lack of standards when you were young didn't play out for you when you were older. Then you become even older. And I think that the pool is just so much smaller. You're much more wary too of the single men that are out there that are closer to your age or older.
So, like, what would one piece of advice, or like something that you wish all men just understood about either like dating or women, or even like the best advice like you would give like Devin, your son, when he starts dating? Like, what would you say to him?
Don't lead the conversation with looks. It's never a good idea to lead a conversation with looks. Just don't lead the conversation with looks. Ask about interests. Ask about hobbies or career choices, or, you know what I mean? Like, if you're trying to get to know somebody, you just don't lead with looks. If you can't take me out for dinner and buy me a glass of wine on a Friday, why would you call me at 4 a.m. on a Sunday? You're out of your mind.
So,
you're out of your mind.
What would you say, like, the worst date that you've either been on or have heard about? Like, what was the worst date you've ever heard about?
I think that the worst true first date would be something that was planned, but not planned. Like, there was no actual location really to go to. There was no idea as to where you're going to take me or what we're going to do. It's just kind of like, let's meet up. And then what? Oh, can't find anything to do? Like, let's go back to your apartment? No. Like, there has to be an intentional plan. Like, there has to be a date. Just plan the date. It's not that hard.
How would you fix it?
Men don't know what you're looking for unless you establish your boundaries or your intentions and what you're looking for and whatever. It doesn't have to be on the first date. It's not really first date talk. But, like, if the topic comes up, like, men don't really know that you're not a 4 a.m. Sunday morning girl unless you make it clear the first time you get that 4 a.m. Sunday morning call. Hey, I really like you. We get along great. I'm sure there's plenty of girls in Worcester that would take this phone call again. I'm never going to. I just want to let you know. Right. I'm just not that kind of girl. You know what I mean? That's just not what I'm looking for at this point in my life. Men don't know unless you say that. Men don't know unless you let them know what you are looking for, and you're straightforward. The reverse end of that is that a lot of single men are notorious for not being honest either with their intentions, with their plans, and with what they want in the long term. So I think women naturally kind of, fall back with that, knowing that's why apps exist too, to also seed out some of that, is that there's a lot of manipulation. There's a lot of dishonesty. And there's a lot of just like lying in order to get what they want when they want it, and and whatever. And so to avoid being hurt, I think sometimes a lot of women just whatever. But I think honesty from both ends and intentionality. Like if that's what you really want, just be honest. Just say what you want. You could like somebody till the cows come home, but if they're not, if who they are and what they represent and what they value and where they are in their life isn't going to align with yours, even if you had some grace, even if you had some wiggle room there, then you just need to be honest.
What would you say would be like the best first date idea? Like if the guy of like your dreams kind of just showed up and was like, hey, what would you say? Like what would you hope he did?
Dinner. I think dinner is like
really
such a classic. Yes, but I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe everybody's different. Like I know some people like love like a spontaneous, crazy, whatever. And a lot of people also spend hours texting these people before they actually sit down and like have a face-to-face, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I think that face-to-face conversation with leading questions, like asking people about their lives, it gives you an immediate basic understanding of where that person is in their life, a basic understanding of what's going on in their life. You have a chance to ask, questions that are a little bit more personal. You can gauge reactions. You can gauge emotions. You can gauge body language. And I think that when you do like these spontaneous, like thrill-seeking things on a first date, it gives you a dopamine hit that I feel like you sometimes can connect to it being because of that person. And I think that is smoke and mirrors. Like, I think that if you don't want to waste your time, you need to sit at a dinner table and you need to have just a basic dinner conversation with somebody. Because a lot of times I think you can find out that it's never going to be something that you can work with. Or it could be something that's super interesting with somebody that you were like, I don't know, half in the door, half out about even going to dinner with.
What would be like the top 3 or however many like pieces of advice that you would tell him to make himself maybe more attractive, or somebody that's new to apps? Like how would you like guide them? Like what advice would you give that young man?
I think less is more. I'm not really on the dating apps. I think I have one open. Again, I was just exploring for like fun and giggles, and I immediately was regretful and then didn't know how to delete. So it's still up there. Fun fact, I've already gotten texts from 2 different people I know to try to open that door. Remind me to delete that later.
Yeah.
But even during like the 5 or 10 minutes that I scrolled a couple of times, you reach these people and this is, I'm minimally on it only because every time I go down this road, I realize really like not ready, or like not, you know what I mean? Like it's not a priority for me at this moment. So why am I going to waste these people's time? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to engage with all of these people when I know very well that if somebody reaches out to me and I agree to a date, I'm not going to go. Like, I'm not at that point in my life. So, it's nothing against the apps. It's just every time I've tried it, I'm just like, you know what? This isn't, it's not a priority for me.
Yeah.
But I'll reach somebody and I'm like, oh, maybe. And then you read and it's like this bio, and it's like everybody tries to be like quirky or funny or different. And like, I get that that's the point, is that you're supposed to put a bio out there so people can gauge whether or not, you're somebody that they'd be interested in, but nobody really does it. It's like, you can put a bio on Facebook. Nobody has a bio.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you scroll their stuff to see what they're about. Like, it's just, so I feel like less is more. I feel like the box where you check short-term, long-term, just want to have fun, the boxes where you check whether or not you have pets or don't have pets, or you are a smoker or you're not a smoker. I feel like those are important, because just let it run the way it's supposed to run. And then if you match with somebody, take it from there. Then you can kind of engage with them about more important things. But even basics, career. Like, I would never put that I am a trauma nurse in a dating app. I just wouldn't. There's a certain community of men out there who might have a thing. And same thing when you put, like, you're a cop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you're going to meet somebody and have it be substantial and last, I feel like things like that shouldn't really be like the leading intrigue necessarily. And I feel like they're good first date topics and starters, or even conversation starters. But I definitely don't want somebody swiping on me because I'm an ER nurse.
Would you say like it's gotten so bad with the inauthenticity, the fakeness and the lies and stuff, that authenticity in and of itself is now attractive because it doesn't exist, kind of?
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah. It is awful.
That is awful. Yeah,
it is.
That sounds so
but this
bad.
is, and that's it, but it's true.
Yeah.
That women seek out those types of men now, or it's attractive to them now because a lot of us have found danger in the ingenuity. They're red flags. You know what I mean? I'm not stuck now. So it's like, there's no reason to stick around for somebody who's not going to just be truthful and honest about who they are and genuine.
I think a lot of like conversations like this need to be happen to kind of, try to be able to listen to each other. And that's especially like why I wanted to have like a female perspective on like the dating. I mean, I could just come on here and do an episode of just what I think is wrong with but I think it was insightful to hear everything they had to say. And I thank you so much for coming on today to talk with me. I had a blast. I feel like I learned a lot, and a lot of things that, I look at now a little bit differently, hearing it from your side. And I just thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Bye, T.
Bye.
Thank you to everyone who tuned in to my conversation with Tina about modern dating from a female perspective. If you would like to be a guest at the table, shoot me an email at tableofreasonpodcast@gmail.com. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this with someone who needs to hear it or someone who you don't like. I'm your host, Dylan Scott. Hit the lights on your way out, and I'll see you next time for the Season 1 finale.